If you think drawing manga backgrounds has to be super hard and detailed, I'm here to tell you that is not true. And if you have no idea how to start drawing manga backgrounds, don't worry, I got you. By watching this video, you're already improving your backgrounds by 1000% because here are some of the backgrounds I used to draw and here are the backgrounds that I've drawn lately. By the end of this video, I'll leave you knowing exactly what to do to improve your backgrounds in your own style. So grab out your own notebook and pen and a hot baby and we're gonna get started. Or the notes app. Notes app is fine too. First, we're going to talk about what's the purpose of a background. So the purpose of a background in manga is to give the readers an idea of what the characters are doing in the story, like where the characters are in the story. So backgrounds in manga exists to serve the story. So that means every background that you draw needs to serve the story in some way. Everything that you include in the background should be serving the story. Everything that you draw in the background should be telling some information about where these characters are right now. Story above all, your background serves the story. And if you don't like drawing backgrounds, the only shot you really need is an establishing shot. Every time you change scenes, you definitely need one establishing shot, which essentially means a long or mid shot where you show where they are, where it's very clear what you've drawn is their location. The point of this is just giving the audience an idea of where these characters are. And if two characters are talking in this scene, you only need one extensive background. And for the other ones, it can be like close shots of their face or mid shots, and the background could even be blank and you include some objects that indicate that they're still in the same space. So really the most important one is an establishing shot. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I'm going to share with you my 3 favorite techniques to drawing manga backgrounds. The first technique is to create clarity in that panel. So if you have a panel with a character and a background, you want the character to stand out. In this case, what I do is fade the background lines around the characters or the important elements in that panel. For the background, you only really draw what is necessary for the story. So you draw enough to indicate that this, for example, is a hospital. It's possible to only include furniture or areas that the character interacts with or says something about their location. For example, in this panel, you just want to show that this guy is on the other side of the room and this guy is coming in through the door. So that's literally what she draws. She draws a table to indicate the perspective and she creates a barrier here by putting a door here. And see, that's the establishing shot. So the rest of the shots don't really need to have much detail at all. So over here, they're just talking and you see little indications of background. Like here, that's like the intercom and here's a bit of the door. But you really don't need to draw a background if that's not like your art style. And take another scene, for example. Here, it gives the illusion of a nightlife without actually drawing detailed buildings. And here is a close-up of like the food on the table, and here is like kind of an establishing shot where you see food on the table and you can imagine already that they're in a restaurant at night. Another example is see how the background lines stop just before it reaches the character because this is the focus of this panel. And this background clearly shows that he's in bed right now and scene change, so this clearly shows they're on the train. See how they don't draw what's outside the train window. This is what's important right now, that the fact that they're on a train, so that's all that they draw here. And as an example here, it really only shows complicated machinery and that's all that it needs to show here. And here is another example of background fading out around a character to highlight the characters. This scene also shows the background fading around the important elements of this panel, and also this one, it happens with the tone as well. And this has to do with composition, to lead the eyes of the viewer to the elements that you want people to see is an important duty of the background. I'll be talking about how to panel in general next week, which I'll really expand on in the next video, but now since we're just talking about the background, I'm going to be talking about the mindset behind drawing a background now. So this is my manga and I really don't like drawing backgrounds. As you can see here, I tend to fade out everything a lot. Like this, I faded out the chairs, I think I even drew too many chairs over here. I don't think that was necessary, but over here I drew the illusion of many people, but actually there's not actually drawn. I've given the illusion of many students in an exam room, but actually I've only drawn 5 kids here. And the back, they're just illusions of people. Think of this as a minimum for your backgrounds. If you love drawing backgrounds, go ham after this, but I'm talking about the minimum that you need to have a good background in manga. So I'm quite lazy, excuse me, but this, I just wanted to indicate that she has an apartment and it has a window and she's living around the city area. And that's what I've shown in that panel. For a scene change, I wanted to indicate a back alley, so this is what I drew. And for this whole page, I had one establishing shot here, and the rest are pretty much human drama panels, which I don't really need more backgrounds to explain. But yeah, similarly with this scene with this train, that one person shows that he's on a relatively empty train, and that's all we needed to know in that panel. Similarly, this scene of that man, it only shows that the train is quite empty that day. Something else I want to mention is characters in the background. Probably the only thing important about them is what they're wearing, which indicates where they are. So it's totally not compulsory to draw super detailed faces of everyone in the background. In fact, in Atomiko Nakamura's works and in Alice, the background characters are totally scuffed. Let me show you. Look at these guys. I love the art style of this one so much. Yeah. And like this scene here, the characters, the drawings are quite rough, and even if there's more students in this scene, you really only need to indicate that there's a lot of students in this scene without drawing so many people. Let me show you. So for example here, it gives the illusion that lots of people are watching in this scene. However, there's only 4 kids drawn here. And this is Taco Pete, and what I noticed recently was they include a super thin white line on the edges of the characters when the hair color and the background color are the same color, so you can clearly see the definition right there. So if you're like me and you don't like drawing backgrounds, draw the most crucial lines first and then go on to beta and tone. And if you feel like there needs to be more detail to be added, come back and add more inked details after the beta and tone. In that order, you need to do beta first and then tone, because to create a good composition, you first need to break the values into black and white, and then the secondary is the gray, so you add the gray last. This is a better order to make a better value composition. Pretty much all you need here is you kind of need to force yourself to draw more backgrounds. So with repetition and practice from here, you're gonna get really good at backgrounds. So literally bring your pocketbook or iPad out to the cafe or like wherever you go outside and draw whatever scenarios that you want to place your characters in. So if you want to draw your characters in your house, you can stay in your house and draw a bit of your kitchen and pretend it's a manga background. I actually did a lot of this because my webtoon is set in Europe, and I went to Europe 2 years ago. The first time I went to Europe as an artist was 2 years ago, and I took my sketchbook and I drew a lot of background manga practice. I took a lot of inspiration from Mayoko Ano's book, The Memoirs of Amorous Gentleman. I really loved the art style there, and it was Europe, so I had a lot of references for European style buildings. So that was really great. Let me show you. Oh, I got some backgrounds here. I drew another background here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so this was a statue. This was based on a statue in a church. And these were castles and churches. Here are more cliffs, and this is when I really tried to draw in manga style. Even drew panels. Yeah, and I drew this while sitting in a church. I drew some detailed shots with an establishing shot in the middle, and I tried to put characters into the scene. So we were at a little village in France, I think, and this was an alleyway, and I added the grey last here. This is another background. It's a bit angsty. Huh? Yeah, and this is a really cool mountain that we saw. I think this is in Lyon. Oh yeah, it's in Lyon. And I drew a girl looking up at the castle. Yeah, and I tried to draw manga. I tried to draw scenes in manga style. Oh my god, it's Hisoka. Oh my god, so cute. And this is another scene. I have not seen these since when I drew them 2 years ago. Hey, that's so cool. This might have been in Switzerland. Grindelwald, yes. Oh my god, it was on the Swiss Alps. And this is that lake. I tried to draw more statues and more people and just more backgrounds. So yeah, as you can see with my sketchbook, I did a lot of like observation and oh here, I was sitting in front of the Louvre and I drew some manga. I drew an establishing shot and everything else, it means like they're in a cafe near here or something like that. Yeah. Oh my god, I've never shown anyone these before. Here is the second book of that first sketching trip. Oh my god. Here we go. Some backgrounds. Church. This was the town of Rouen where Monet drew his church. This is the same church that Monet drew back in the day. This was Monet's backyard. Tried to draw some establishing shots and some details. Tried to balance those out. And here's some more. Some backgrounds. And obviously I added the grey last. I didn't have any black. Actually, I wanted to do a black and white drawing without any blacks. This was, we walked into a mass that day, and they were singing. Yeah. All right. Alright, homework section. I want you to study your favorite mangas and take some notes on the following. I want you to notice establishing shots, which are the mid shots and the long shots in every scene change. I want you to notice how they include at least one piece of big background that gives away the location at every scene change. And next, I want you to get a photograph and I want you to go on your camera roll and find a photo. And if you don't have one, I want you to go on your camera roll and find a photo that you've taken of a landscape, of a mid-shot landscape. And if you don't have one already, I want you to go take one of like your room or wherever you're sitting right now. You can take a photo and have a think about how you can simplify the elements of the photo so that it shows what you want to show and highlights a character in that scene. So it could be a character, it could be an item in that scene that you want to highlight. Yeah, and I want you to turn that into a panel of manga. I want you to get some practice in drawing from photographs and simplifying all the shapes and simplifying all of the data. See, like behind me, all of these, I'm not going to draw every single pen in that pen case. I'm going to indicate the appearance of many pens, but I'm not going to draw every single one of them because that's not the important thing. The important thing is I'm in my study room and I have posters and pens on my table, but I don't really need to know how many pens exactly I have because that's not the point of what I'm trying to say to you guys. Yeah, so yeah, after you had a practice drawing that photograph, I just want you to repeat that many, many times and treat it like a really casual activity. It's nothing big, it's just some background lines. It's not daunting at all. It's just adding a little sprinkles here and there to indicate the appearance of a location. So literally bring out your pocketbook in wherever you go outside in your lunch break and just draw stuff as manga backgrounds really casually. Treat it super casually and like 50 days later, magically you'll improve. Your manga backgrounds will be so different. You're going to be better at picking what to include in the background. You're going to get better at directing the reader's eye around the page using a background. And that's the story is really what's important in the manga. The art, it guides the reader's eye to following your story, and like the emotions in the story is what's important here. So it's supplementary, but it's very important. Yeah, and I guess all the practice gets turned into stuff like this. I really learned how to simplify the background so that we leave only what's necessary here. Wait guys, check out my desk. I redid this area and I did it so that I could put my manga books here so I can reference them more easily. If it's your first time here, hello and welcome. I'm Katie. I'm known as Gentle Coda. I write manga and I draw illustrations and post videos here on YouTube and Instagram. I also recently published an online version of my debut comic, The Girl I Left Behind. So if you want to have a read, I've dropped a link in the description below. But yeah, that's all from me. Go enjoy your backgrounds. You got this.